Hello! Thank you for clicking that link and joining me again today. I'm so glad you did. No, this isn't a throwback to Little House on the Prairie. This is actually my reaction to episode 2 of Love Off the Grid. I thought this was apropos outfit. I might wear this every time, maybe. I don't know. The funny part about this outfit is this dress is actually from Target. And they came out with a whole series of these dresses probably about 2 years ago-ish. And the folks on like the chicken raising communities on Facebook came up with hashtag Target Prairie Dress. And then you're supposed to do like a photo shoot with you and your chickens and doing stuff around the farm. That's why I have the dress. But I've never actually done that. So, we're going to jump right into episode 2 of Love Off the Grid. It opens up with Jen and Charlie, and she's going to, break the seal and go into the cabin for the first time. And it is a small cabin. In fact, you could sit on the bed and cook breakfast. It's that small.
Okay, here I go. Going in. Oh my.
Welcome home, Jen.
And she's quite taken aback, and she's used to having a nice big house in wherever she's from, by the beach and all that stuff. And Charlie says, that he was raised in a small house, and the fun stuff all happened outside anyway, so why did you want to be inside? And I could totally agree, because I haven't had my own bedroom for 3 years, and I sleep on a bunk. So, but all the fun stuff does happen outside, so I'm in total agreement with Charlie on this. So then the next scene goes to Angela, and she has a post hole digger, and she is digging a hole, and Josh comes out to help her, and she says, we're planting a tree, because if you plant a tree here, you will always have a home here. And so they talk a little bit about, their relationship, and, he's, I don't know, they're kind of iffy at this point. They're kind of like, man, I don't know. She's happy that he came out, but she wants a little more love, kind of thing. And this is the first day, like the actual first day he's been there. So, I don't think you can expect much. So, and as they're digging, they meet Caliche, or at least I call it Caliche. I've heard Caliche. It is basically nature's concrete. And so I'm like, good luck, because we had to get a jackhammer. And because we have water lines running around the house to feed the planters that we wanted to put here, and we had to literally get a jackhammer to get through the caliche to be able to keep the water lines level. It is not fun. It is not fun. So the next scene is Lindsay and Spencer, and Lindsay shows up to Spencer's, and she's got this big van that looks like it has solar panels on the top. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that. I have no idea. She is a very social person and has problems with isolation, so she's talking a bit about that. And she does mention that she went and got fresh food and stuff, because they don't really have fresh food up there. And then they show Spencer's garden, and it's kind of pathetic. I have to say, I'm not to be an asshole, but it is kind of pathetic. Yeah, but it may be the best he could do. It seems dry, so he may need to water it more, but I'm guessing they don't have a well, maybe, so he probably has to haul water, which is crappy. So they talk about how Spencer and Lindsay had been together before, and a big part of their breakup, I guess, was how he treats dogs. And not that he treats them badly or anything, but she's very protective of the dogs. They're very much her children, and he grew up on a ranch with working dogs, so he's like, they're dogs. They're fine. They're good to go. They're dogs. They're not gonna die. They're not gonna fall in, and she's like, oh, they might fall into a cactus and be in pain and then die, and a coyote eats them. And he's like, They're dogs. They're fine. They'll be fine. So that's a big part of their relationship. And I'm kind of on his side because, well, working dogs are working dogs. You know, they're not pets. Because they have a job and you have them for a reason. My dogs are more pets. They don't really do anything, except they keep the cows off our property. So that's a nice thing because the cattle that come onto our property freaking destroy everything. They're not our cattle. So it's very frustrating because the rancher shouldn't be allowed to run them here at all. But I think he was grandfathered in, so he thinks he can because nobody lived here. And now that there's people living here, he's having problems with, you know, us people from, you know, dudes. He probably thinks we're a bunch of dudes from the valley. And, you know, well, he's not wrong. And he's literally gone to people up here and told them, hey, the cows are going to be here, so if you don't want them on your property, you need to fence it. But he's illegally running the cattle here because we are part of the town. So it's basically like him releasing his cows downtown. So it's not legal. And then Lindsay expresses concerns about, you know, what if bad people come up here with weapons and are going to hurt us and stuff. And I'm like, yo, you in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's coming there. You can't get people you want to come there. I can tell you that right now. Move off grid and you will find out who your friends are, because all the people you thought your friends ain't coming to visit you. Well, maybe a few hardcore people who are actually your friends will. So the next clip goes to Myisha and Joe, and they're still working on building the house. And my thought was, if they can survive building a house, then they can manage a relationship forever off grid. Because oh my gosh, you know, your husband or your spouse or your partner or whatever will assume that you're going to do stuff, and you have no idea that you're supposed to do the things, and there's arguments. Yep. Trust me, I've been there, and I've told my husband, I'm like, look, if you want me to do something, you need to be specific because I don't know. So if they can survive the house building, they'll be able to survive anything the world can throw at them. And they also, Josh and Myisha, I'm not sure if this is the first time they mentioned poly, probably not. I think they mentioned that earlier in the last episode, but they're polyamorous. And they basically want to start this poly hippie commune thing. And she's saying that she's the queen and he's the king. And I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess that can work if you lay that groundwork with any new people in the relationship, but I feel like that's asking a lot initially. So I don't know. You know, we'll find out. We'll see if they get anybody to concede to that. So then we cut back to Josh and Angela, and I don't know if I should like just group their stuff together, everybody's things together, or just follow the show, how they clip it together. But anyway, we go back to Josh and Angela, and he wants to take a shower because, well, it's hot. And so she has no running water, so she has to show him how to do it. And her shower head is literally a pipe with some holes in the bottom of it. It's not an actual shower head, so there's not a whole lot of pressure. So he ends up like using a glass, and there's all this flirtiness of him, taking a shower and stuff like that. Yay. She does mention that she has one of her water tanks painted black to absorb the sun's heat, so it's warm water, and then the other one's painted blue, so it's cooler. So there's your off-grid part to that. So, and then it cuts back to Charlie and Jen, and they're driving over to a neighbor's house to get food, right, because they're trading, just so that Jen can get to know the people on the mountain and create a relationship with them. And, I think that's pretty cool. I think, that he's trying to get her to know people in the community and stuff like that. So I do like that aspect, because these are the people that are going to support you. These are the people that, if you run out of something, like I ran out of hay, I had to go to the neighbors and ask them if they had a bale of hay for me, if they could, or at least a meal, so until I could get into town, because it was Sunday and everything in my town shuts down on Sunday. So, that's basically who's going to support you if you can't get into town and get anything, or if you need help with something. So it's a good thing to know your neighbors. Oddly, when I lived in the city, I barely knew the neighbors. But out here, I know all the neighbors, or most of them, and I go hang out at their houses and we have dinner together and all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. And during that clip of them trading, they end up back at the cabin, and Jen's talking about how she's scared of waking up with a bug on her face and stuff like that. And I'm like, it is nature. There are bugs. It's gonna happen. I'm sorry. I mean, it is. When we, like right before we first moved up here and we were just working on the house on the weekends and stuff, we had what we called Bugmageddon. And that's when all of the cicadas came out because they're on a 7-year cycle, and it was bad. It was like, if you can imagine a snowstorm, but it's bugs. Yep, Bugmageddon. It's fun. It's awesome. And you are going to wake up with bugs on you, or, you know, you're going to encounter bugs. Like out here we have blister beetles, which are really bad. They're really bad things because they obviously raise blisters on you, and they can really cause problems if horses or other livestock eat them. So, and they're ugly too. They're ugly bugs. And so they're like ants with oversized butts. I will insert a picture, but they are ugly, and whenever I see them, I squish them. But yeah, we do have those up here, and we also have the little velvet ants, which are actually wasps, which really hurt if they bite you. So yeah, you're gonna have bugs. Bugs are bugs. They're everywhere. So continuing with the bug narrative, Jen's saying, well, why don't I just go stay with your mom? Because she knows Charlie's mom lives on the mountain. And he's like, well, I thought the point of this was you coming up here and living with me and not with my mom. And she's like, well, yeah, that's true. But, you know, your mom's got a nice house with a nice soft bed, and I kind of want to go there. And he's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be with me. That's the point. And so she finally concedes and is like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to. So she decides to stay with Charlie. Cut to Lindsay and Spencer building a deck. That was part of Lindsay's problem, is Spencer wasn't, or before, when they were together before, was that Spencer didn't necessarily do things to make her comfortable, like building a deck and that kind of stuff. And I totally understand that, because sometimes my husband doesn't do things that would make life easier around here, like building a deck. Anyway. But a lot of times they have something else on their mind. A lot of times, like, he doesn't build a deck because he's more worried about water. You know, how are we going to get the water? Or, you know, I've got to, you know, till this garden. I got to get all that going, you know. So it's a little, you know, guys often do that, where they have a completely different thought process of what's going on. So in that, while they're building the deck, Spencer decides to ask Lindsay if she slept with anyone while they were broken up. And I'm like, dude, don't ask that question. Just relationship advice from an old lady. You just don't want to know. You just don't want to ask that question, dude. You just move on about your life and don't worry about that kind of thing. But she was like, no, I didn't actually have sex with anyone, but I did like cuddling with my guy friends. So I'm not really sure that that's a great answer, but anyway, Spencer's concerned about being cheated on. He's been cheated on in the past and has trust issues. And the whole time during this scene where they're building the deck, I'm like, how can you wear shorts and sandals? How? How are you not getting crap all in your feet? Oh my gosh. Anyway, you know, I don't wear no sandals around here unless it's like to run outside really quick. Like if I was to build something or work on something, I'm not wearing sandals. Sorry. And the final episode, or final scenes of the episode, is cutting back to Josh and Angela, and they're building a fire. I'm like, it's 90 degrees at least. Why? Why are you building a fire? Are you insane? I don't know if maybe the producers are like, hey, you guys should totally do this. Yeah. Why? But anyway, they build a fire, and then they get all, you know, if you're interested, they get all kind of, you know, flirty, and so she gives him a little dance, and then he gives her a little striptease dance, and gets all kind of risque and stuff like that. So yay, that's how they close the episode. I guess it's kind of a cliffhanger. You know, will they do it? Won't they do it? Who knows? We'll find out next episode. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm having fun, and I'm hoping you're having fun with me, and I will see you in the next episode. Ear hugs, and I am out. there it went.